May the Force.
Force. The Force.
Force. Force.
Force.
The Force will be with you. Always.
Welcome to Star Wars Uplink, your source for everything Star Wars gaming. Welcome to Star Wars Uplink. I'm your host, Sage Goodwin. And as always, I'm joined by Sydney Laurel. How are you doing?
I'm good.
You doing good?
Yeah.
Star Wars?
Let's talk.
You ready?
Let's go. Come on.
Again, this is the third episode we've done that has a video aspect in it. So if you're listening to this right now and you have not... The third?
The second.
This is the second we've done. But we also, last episode, we had a guest on the podcast.
Right.
And we did a video version of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we're up to 3 already. We've almost been doing it a month total.
Wow.
So if you're listening to this and have not checked out the video version, give it a try. Maybe you'll enjoy it. It's another option for you to partake in not Lego Star Wars, in Star Wars Uplink.
Star Wars in general.
In the Star Wars Uplink podcast. Also on there, you'll find deeper dives into Star Wars lore, as well as reaction videos, gaming content, news updates, all those things. So definitely go check it out. And hey, if you do enjoy this podcast, leave a review. Helps us out a ton. We got a couple months ago, but we haven't had any recently, so we'd love to hear your thoughts on a review on Apple Podcasts or iTunes. You can also rate us on Spotify now, so that's pretty cool too.
Oh, wow.
You can go do all the things. We're everywhere.
Sweet.
This year, we're celebrating 7 years of this podcast feed.
Wow.
Yes. I'm about to be, in November, actually, middle of this year, I'll be celebrating 8 years of podcasting. Now that is wild.
How do you feel about that?
Old.
You can only feel old once you get to 10 years.
It's pretty crazy though. 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
2 years away from 10.
Mm-hmm.
That is wild. That's a long time to be doing something.
It is.
It's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Over 250 episodes. This will be 251.
Oh my gosh.
Because before the Battlefront podcast and before Star Wars Uplink,
Mm-hmm.
I did a spin-off test podcast that never saw the light of day.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I did a test podcast, and if we're counting that, it'll be 8 years.
Oh, okay.
It'll be 8 years this year.
Okay.
It'll be 7 years for this podcast feed. 7 years. We've weathered a lot of storms. I know there's been a lot of podcasts, and we'll do like a celebration kind of thing when we get to that 7th year in November. But like we've weathered a lot of storms, and there have been a lot of other podcasts that we've outlived that have been trying to go into the Star Wars gaming space. I know there were 3 other Star Wars Battlefront podcasts that had started up,
really,
and then failed after like 12 episodes. They just stopped doing it. So yeah, there was 2 in Battlefront 2015's life cycle, and then there was 1 or 2 in Battlefront 2's life cycle. We were able to outlive.
You outlasted them.
We're still here. And we want to thank you all so much for sticking with us. And if you're new to the podcast, welcome. Hope you're as excited about Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, as we are. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, how to prepare yourselves for Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. So let's jump right in.
Just you reconsider playing that message for him.
So there's a lot of different things that you can say around preparation for video game. I mean, we were talking about this before. And you're like, so how does one prepare? You just have your wallet out there?
Yep. Pretty sure you're just standing in front of the monitor with like your wallet open, being like, okay, when am I buying it?
Yeah, exactly. No, but what we want to talk about in this section of the podcast, we're going to talk about how to prepare just in general. What are some of the things that you need to be aware of if you're going to be pre-ordering or ordering this game? What are some of the things that you need to be aware of the game itself? Maybe you're on the fence. You're like, oh, hey, I've never really jumped into a Lego Star Wars game. So that's what we're going to be talking about. First off, I want to talk about pre-ordering and what that gives you. I believe pre-ordering, thankfully, it's not a whole lot of like extra super secret stuff, because a lot of companies now, like, it's so important to get those pre-order numbers in and get that money in first before the game actually ships, because then that helps with marketing and all that fun stuff. But if you do pre-order the game, you get day one access to the Trooper character DLC pack, and the digital edition also includes an exclusive classic Obi Wan Kenobi playable character. So right before we recorded this podcast, I pre-ordered the game. I was intentionally waiting. I knew I was going to buy the game just in general.
Of course.
But I was intentionally waiting to pre-order because I want it to be as close to the release as possible. And if you are an Xbox and you're part of the Xbox rewards section, you can get 6,000 points for buying the game. And that's valid for, I think, up until the 15th of April or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So you get 6,000 points towards your Xbox or Microsoft rewards.
So why was it important that you waited?
It's just like a belief that I have after getting burned by like all of DICE's games and then Cyberpunk. It's just one of those things that like I want to, if I am going to pre-order to get something like this exclusive character, I want to be as close to that release cycle as possible. So I'm not fueling that really manipulative idea of like super early pre-orders. Like it's getting to the point now, like when a game gets announced, they're like, oh, pre-order it now. It's going to be released 10 years from now.
Right.
Maybe. We'll see.
With your money, it can happen.
Exactly. If you pre-order, we will make it happen, possibly, but we will get your money anyway, so that's good too. So that's just something, I don't like pre-ordering things, so I don't want to continue that manipulative part of the gaming industry. Again, I am going to still pre-order the game so I can get the classic Obi Wan Kenobi playable character, but if I can tie it pretty close to the actual release, that's good by me. And I did it now because I probably forget beforehand, so it's good to do it right before we talk about it on the podcast. So what are the difference between the deluxe edition and the base edition? Because every game has a deluxe edition now. And again, they're doing pretty good in terms of like the broad space of video games, where like they have the base edition, then they have the deluxe edition, then they have the premium edition, and then they have like the platinum edition, and then they have like the ultimate. Like there's all of these different editions that they usually have in terms of like video games,
I suppose.
Like if you buy this version, you get this one thing. Like for Battlefield 2042, I bought the Super Ultimate Mega Edition, whatever they called it. I think it was just the Ultimate Edition. It's like $120, but because I had Game Pass and because they have EA Play is involved with Game Pass, I got like 20% off, so it was like $90. So better, but still like.
Was all the stuff that you got worth it?
No.
Oh.
Because it included the season pass, but like the first season isn't going to launch until June or July.
Oh.
So, but that's for Battlefield show. If you want to hear thoughts about Battlefield, head on over to the Battlefield show. It's been coming up a lot recently.
Oh boy.
But yeah, so thankfully they just have two versions. It's the base standard edition, and then they have the deluxe edition. And the deluxe edition includes the base game as well as 7 DLC packs in a character collection bundle. And the DLC for this game seems to be pretty cool. They have Mandalorian Season 1, Mandalorian Season 2, Rogue One, a classic characters pack, Solo, a Star Wars story, Star Wars The Bad Batch, and then the Trooper pack, which we get day one access to if you pre-order it. So that's kind of what you need to know in terms of like the separation between the standard edition and the deluxe edition. If that's something that you value, again, you can later on buy an upgrade to it to get that extra DLC as they come out. I believe you can buy them separately as well as they come out. You can say, hey, I just want this one. I don't care about this other one, or I don't care about the character packs, so I just want to play Rogue One. You could buy those out each separately, and then they'll also have a season pass if it is like all the other games, and I believe it is. Yeah, like even in this little section that they have on the Xbox store is you can view the add-on, and it shows them as each individual separate things. So it's pretty cool.
Interesting. Huh. Now, you say that the certain... I'm not gonna say it right, but like, was the player pack that was like playable day one sort of thing?
The Trooper pack, yeah.
Okay, Trooper pack. Now, does that mean that the DLCs come out later? You're just already like pretty much just pre-ordered for those sort of thing? Or?
Yeah, so it's a season pass, which it's not really a thing that a bunch of game companies do anymore. But a season pass is they say, hey, we're going to give you this amount of content over this amount of time frame. Maybe it's every quarter, every 3 months or so. They say, hey, yeah, we're going to release this. But it's just saying we're going to release this content. It's going to come to the game, and if you buy the deluxe edition, it's going to be included that you're going to get all these packs. And usually it's a $10 add-on to get the deluxe edition. And usually the season pass is like anywhere from $15 to $25.
Oh, okay.
Normally. So I don't know what they're going to be doing for this game. That hasn't come out yet, but that would be the motivation for it. So
Gotcha.
you'll get access to those DLC packs, quote unquote, free of charge, but you're paying $10 extra versus the deluxe or the base model.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. more up front, so hopefully you save a penny.
Yeah,
later on.
If you're already going to get it,
right,
might as well get the deluxe edition.
Right.
I mean, or if you can only afford the base standard edition, just play through. I mean, it's all 9 Star Wars films.
You already have a lot of content to begin with. So.
Yeah. And another thing, they recently showed some of the co-op footage.
Oh, really?
So they're going back to the standard co-op for Lego games.
Nice.
Instead of they played around with the adaptive split screen a lot, to where like if you're close together, it's full screen, but then as you start to move apart, it separates.
Confusing.
And then, depending on where you are in the map and where you need to see it, it'll go horizontal, vertical, slightly to the side. So if you're in the lower right-hand corner, it's going to be a little bit more askew, kind of this way if you're looking at this on video. And then if you're more to the closer side of things, it's going to flip back. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm super pumped that they're making this move away from that adaptive split screen, because I hated it so much. It's so annoying. It's not really reliable.
Yeah.
You may want to see something, but it's like, no, you're in this corner, so it's going to be skewed a very different way. So this is good. It's split right down the middle. You can be right next to each other. You still have your own views.
Nice.
And then split screen also, for those of you who were wondering if it was going to be any online split screen, that's not the case. You have to be couch co-op, or if you're on PC, you can have Steam co-op play. So it acts like you're basically split screen together, but through Steam, you can have that experience of playing remotely. Let's say you're at the house and I'm here and we're both on our PCs. We can play together like it's just split screen co-op.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, at least there is that option.
Yeah, so it's good. Another thing to note, this game is not going to have any character customization. That was something that has been in pretty much every other Lego game, is to be able to make your own character, especially any other Lego Star Wars game.
Really?
In the complete saga, you could mix and match. Like you could have Darth Maul's head with the Slave Leia's body, and then like Jar Jar's legs.
Oh, wow.
Like you could play around with something like that.
I did not know this.
Yeah, so you could have this character customization and then play as that character throughout the levels.
Gotcha.
Yes. As well as different weapons, but this game's not going to have it.
Yeah,
a lot of people were wondering, and sadly, no.
No. But that makes sense, because it seems like they're...
I mean, they have over 300 playable characters. So.
And they're being very specific about what characters can do what in the games, it seems, so...
So it's sad, considering it's a staple to the franchise, but it's understandable. I never really used it. I mean, I used it a little bit, just to have like a weird combination.
Right.
But it wasn't something that I was like super like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm going to play as my own character, or all this stuff. Like, it just really wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
So I understand that decision.
Another thing about the split screen move, like how they're going more towards the split screen versus the dynamic whatever. The dynamic one is like, it messes with me, because like whenever I'm playing or watching it's almost there's too much motion going on.
Yeah.
And so I get distracted. Like I forget which side I'm on or whatever.
That is a big thing too, because if you're like a similar character, like if you look somewhat similar,
it's
so confusing.
Yeah.
Like I 100% get that, and it has happened to me as well. Of like, I just get so confused of like, so I was on that side, but now I'm not.
Yep.
Wait, what?
Yep. And it's nice. It just seems like they're going to be doing such larger scale of like the world that you're in sort of thing. So it really just wouldn't work to have that dynamic. Because usually it's like a very confined space, like per level sort of thing. But at least from my experience, my limited experience in it, just seems like, okay, you're in this spot. Now figure out the puzzle, figure out whatever you need to do, blast all the people, make the little thing to move on to the next little contained level sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's not, I mean, that is what they're doing, but it sounds like it's going to be a lot larger, a larger scale. So
yeah,
it just makes sense to me.
It's just going to be a lot more consistent, and it's going to be a lot more just standard. I think it's good. Like, I am glad that they're going with this set standard and saying, hey, split screen is going to be like this. It's not going to just adapt to wherever you are. It's because they played around with it. It's gotten a lot better throughout the games, but still, like, nothing will beat a set standard co-op. Like, you either have everyone on the same screen or you don't. Yeah. There's no, like, you can't have your pie and eat it too.
Yeah. Pie.
Yeah, so they said, and the interesting thing too is there was an interview done around the character creator that they said that was going to be in the game. But eventually they made the decision, and it was March 24th that they had confirmed that. They said, hey, we'd like to address this point directly. This interview was from 2019, and sometimes features change throughout the development. We can confirm that LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga doesn't have character customization, but we do have 300 plus characters for you to choose from.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's good that they focused and said, hey, I know you guys were expecting it. We said it was coming, but no, it's not happening.
Yeah. Better to hear that than nothing at all, and it's something we're all expecting it.
Super disappointed,
Yeah.
So that's exciting. If you're wondering, hey, I'm super pumped about this game. Does it have enough content for me? Is it really going to be deserving of that $60 price tag? Well, it has 24 planets. I did a video on Star Wars Uplink breaking down all the planets that they're going to be on. There are 24 locations that you can go through.
Good grief.
24 of them. It's pretty crazy. And even in episode, I think it was 2, they had 20 total missions and levels, or missions/levels, whatever you want to call them, that you can play through. And each of them were different locations. There was like 5 or 6, maybe even 7 different Naboo locations that you could play on in terms of like through the story. Yeah. Again, that's not the number of open world sections that you'll be able to go to, but certain planets will have multiple open world sections, because I think you can go to Mos Espa and you can go to Mos Eisley on Tatooine. So there was a couple different sections that you could free roam and play through. That you could fly Poe Dameron. I'm trying to think of like the way to describe. He pulled up this map. It's like this little hollow map, and that's how you choose wherever you want to go. You hop into a ship and then you fly there. Okay. And then when you're in the atmosphere, you can choose, hey, I want to go to Mos Espa. Hey, I want to go to Mos Eisley. I want to go to this section. Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So depending on, like, you get to play through the maps, through the missions, and those are those like set kind of storyline beats that, oh yeah, you're going to play through this, you're going to beat that mission, and then if you want to play through it again, you're going to play through that mission again, not instead of like, I'm just going to go there randomly. But they will have a lot of locations that you can free roam and just play on.
Gotcha.
So that's really exciting.
Neat.
Yeah, I'm so pumped. It's going to be so great. And announcement too, on Tuesday, I'll be doing an early stream, 6:30 or 7 Mountain Standard Time.
Oh boy.
So
get ready, people.
Yes, on the Star Wars Uplink channel, we're going to be doing a live stream playing through LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. So I'm leaning more towards the 6:30 a.m. side of things to get there super early and start a stream for like an hour and a half maybe. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So make sure that you hop in and join us when that happens.
So there's 24 worlds divided between the different eras?
There are 24 locations, and then
24 planets.
24 planets. And then through those missions, you'll play through different aspects of those. But there are 24 planets that you'll be able to free roam on.
Oh.
Yeah, because they'll have their own little hubs.
Gotcha.
And then you'll be able to...
And then you kind of go through the missions through those hubs.
I'm not sure how that works yet.
Oh.
Because I think there's
So
the
much
selector of
mystery
the
around
movies.
here.
There's the selector of the movies,
Right.
which have that really cool stop motion section.
Uh-huh.
So I think that's how you choose the missions.
Oh, okay.
And then you can separately free roam. Yeah. And another thing too I want to mention before we stop talking about kind of like how to prepare in general and how like what some of the things that we're excited about, how we're preparing ourselves. Co-op. They've specifically pointed out they did like they've been really reserved around showing co-op, so that was something interesting too. So they've been reserved about it. They showed some gameplay, and they mentioned how depending on where you are in co-op, you'll be able to explore different areas. So like if you're playing co-op with someone, you can go through the game in different ways.
Interesting.
Yes. So you can explore, because I mean, something that they're really hammering down on with this game is they're saying, hey, if you want to play it this way, you can play it this way. You can have multiple paths and you can have multiple decisions depending on what happens.
Right.
In that gameplay that we're talking about a few episodes ago, the leaks section is they had an opportunity where you had these Lego pieces that you could build two different outcomes. You could go through this one hallway or you could go through this other hallway, and depending on what you built. So there's going to be some stuff like that, and depending on what characters you have that you choose, you can have different outcomes. So you may have something that only one character can do. If you have that character in a free play, you can go through that separate section and have a different experience on the same level.
Goodness. So the replayability for this is...
Oh, it's going to be massive, yeah.
incredible.
The 100% this game is going to be pretty intense.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I think for our streams, we're going to be doing just like pretty standard playthrough.
Yeah.
And then we'll do maybe even like, I'm going to be playing it through on stream just myself. And then maybe we do try to like 100% stream where it's you and I playing co-op together.
That'd be fun.
I think that'd be really fun.
Yep. Oh boy.
But
get all the bits.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Now let's take a break. We'll be back to talk about how we're preparing and what we're most excited for the game.
This podcast is a production of Uplink Media Group. Uplink is a podcast network dedicated to highlighting the love and experience of gaming and pop culture. Check out our other shows, The Battlefield Show, Star Wars Uplink, and The Forge, the Halo Infinite podcast, as well as our YouTube channels for even deeper dives into Battlefield, Star Wars, and more. YouTube.com/Uplink podcast and StarWarsUplink.com.
Only different in your mind. You must unlearn what you have learned.
Okay. Lego Star Wars, Skywalker Saga.
How are you preparing?
The dream game, man. Like, I'm so pumped
oh man.
around this game. Like, the more I see about it, the more excited I get.
Yeah.
A bunch of friends of the podcast, Mark and Sammy, I've talked to them a few times, and they're like, yeah, I'm intentionally not watching anything so I can have that experience of
good
like,
for them.
Yeah, it's like, I thought about that, but I mean, I did not.
Gotta get hyped.
Exactly, and man, like they put it out there, you might as well watch it.
I don't know. I mean, come on. They clearly have the reservation, so I feel like you're not gonna get super spoiled into everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, they showed the footage that we saw and the access that a lot of creators had around the gameplay experience. They had like a set amount of time that they could play, and then certain creators were able to use that time to get further than other creators, because like I know from the podcast Andrew Bombastic, he was taking his time exploring a lot of different things and didn't get as far, and then there's another creator that got access and was like all the way to the Death Star exploding.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so like they were just
powered through it,
speeding through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm super pumped, and like again, it was A New Hope, so like it's my favorite movie. I know from back to front, I don't care about like getting quote unquote spoiled from it. And like We're gonna start the gameplay and the stream playing through episode 1, Phantom Menace. We're starting there.
All right.
Because like all of the polls that I've been seeing, the people asking like, "Hey, which era are you most excited to play through?" And it's prequels, original trilogy, and then sequels. That was the order that people are most excited to play through.
Oh, interesting. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Going from the one to the last. Gotcha.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that's the obvious path to go through.
Chronological.
Especially like having the prequel era in such a level of detail and storytelling, and like it was going to be so awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been almost starved of prequel era content, so like it's definitely helped the nostalgia build and the fandom grow for the prequels.
Yep.
Yeah, so definitely going to be interesting there. Super pumped. Got on digital so I can hop in between the studio and home if I want to play offline as well. Because I have a Xbox Series S here at the studio, then I have a Series X at home. I was half tempted to get the Deluxe Edition physical version because it came with a minifigure of Luke with blue milk. But one, I think most of those got sold out. And then two, the Series S doesn't have a disc drive.
Oh.
So if I wanted to stream it at the studio,
no.
which is how I would want to,
Yeah.
I couldn't. I'd have to bring the X here, and that defeats the whole purpose of having the S here. So yeah.
No. Good choice.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons I stuck to the digital edition versus that physical version. Yeah. So that's my thinking on it.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to touch on, some Star Wars news. So they've delayed Obi Wan Kenobi.
Have they really?
By a few days.
Why?
Instead of I think it was the 25th, it is now coming out on the 27th, I believe.
They're delaying it 2 days.
Let me double check here. Yep.
Why? What's the big difference between...
So I have a theory on it.
So they really didn't say anything.
So Ewan McGregor is in this really nice set. And he's like, oh, hey, wanted to announce that, hey, we're delaying the premiere of Obi Wan Kenobi. It was originally going to be the 25th. Now it's going to be the 27th. But 2 episodes are premiering on the 27th instead of 1 on the 25th. So that leads me to believe that like they aren't super confident in the punchiness of the first episode to get people hooked. So they want to do 2 episodes. So that could be good or bad.
Interesting. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only obvious.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that,
logical
conclusion.
we can
Yeah.
think of that we, as far as we.
Why else would you delay it 2 days?
Right. It's 2 days.
So I don't know why. I think too they want to go back to that Friday time slot.
Oh.
Because like Mandalorian was always on Fridays, which worked out great for us. Because
Yeah.
the Wednesday works better for our recording schedule for the podcast.
Yes, of course.
So we'll just have to. I don't know what we'll do.
We'll just have ramen and binge it when we get back.
So we'll have to watch the episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, true.
And then we'll have to do a late recording.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
It's
It'll be
fine.
right there in our minds.
Exactly.
Though, so.
Yeah. So that'll be good.
Instead of us silently stewing over the episodes we just seen, we
Yeah.
could just be like, bleh!
So like the conclusion that I drew is they're doing it 2 days and then they're going to drop 2 is that they aren't super confident in the punchiness or something along those lines of the content. Like why else would you make the decision to drop 2 at once? It's like they could have just delayed it and then said, hey, you get 1. But it's just such a weird decision, but I'm glad that we're getting 2.
Yeah, same.
That's nice. But I think it's interesting that they're making the decision to 1, delay it by 2 days and then drop 2 episodes at the same time.
I could definitely see that it was just some like really tiny, minuscule, like
Maybe they
behind the scenes thing that they just needed a little bit of wiggle room or something.
Yeah, that's possible.
And then they're just like, just to make fans happy, we'll just give them 2.
It's always surprising too how close to the line that most like documentaries or streaming series get to that release date. Movies are usually pretty streamlined in terms of like they have a mostly done before they start promoting it, and then it's ready to go.
Right.
But like a lot of documentaries and a lot of streaming series that I've watched documentaries on, they get pretty close to that line. They're pushing up to that last possible second before they can't push it out. So maybe they are like, hey, we need to adjust a couple things. Maybe they change the Inquisitor's stupid head. That'd be great.
That would be awesome.
But I think it's fascinating. It's fascinating for sure.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. I wonder too if they're going to keep it that Friday schedule.
Yeah, or if they'll just
I would like to see it on
Fridays
Fridays.
and Wednesdays.
Yeah. Because we usually hang out with friends on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
And
true.
then our date night usually is a Friday. So it usually works out pretty good for our schedules in terms of just like our daily lives.
Right.
But I wonder, it'll be interesting. I hope they move to that Friday. It'd be good because I know a lot of other people, like a lot of friends of mine who are parents. I mean, Brian on last episode was like, yeah, I really enjoyed those Friday sections because like it's much easier to ignore spoilers over the weekend where I could watch it on Sunday or Monday night. Like I have a lot more freedom of that than, or to be able to watch it on the weekends versus like smack dab in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
It's a rough time.
You have time to talk about it. And
yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So looking forward to it. I'm excited. I hope that the reason it's not super punchy is because they're taking their time. They're telling a good story and they're doing that, but it's not really like in terms of a premiere. It's not as punchy as they may have wanted. Right. So that'd be my theory.
Action packed.
But hey, we get 2 episodes at the same time.
I'll take it.
It's like a movie.
Yeah.
It's like a movie premiere. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Let us know your thoughts down below in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube, or send us an email, uplinkpodcast, or contact@uplinkpodcast.com. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Greatly appreciate all of your support. Leave us a review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Let us know what you think of the show, your feedback. We'd love to hear it. It helps us get higher in search as well. Just really good balance of things there. Subscribe on YouTube. Check out the video podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube. Basically, wherever you find podcasts, you can find this show. So if you are listening to it on YouTube and you're like, hey, I really enjoyed this, but I don't have enough time right now to finish it on YouTube, you can pick up the show on your podcast app of choice, wherever you'd like to listen to us. As always, thanks for listening, and may the Force be with you.